Hey guys, tonight we're staying up way past bedtime. The rain is tapping on the classroom windows like it's trying to get in, each drop a tiny fingernail against the glass. The fluorescents overhead hum that low, tired buzz you only notice when everything else is quiet. I'm sitting cross-legged on the teacher's desk, phone propped against a stack of ungraded quizzes, and the hallway outside is nothing but black rectangles of lockers and the occasional flicker of an exit sign. You probably won't make it to morning after this one. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your city and local time in the comments. I always read them while the battery dies. Now, dim the lights, maybe crack open a window for that midnight breeze, and let's walk the halls together. It started with a reunion. Not the official kind with punch bowls and name tags, but the accidental sort that happens when five of us, me, Jenna, Marcus, Priya, and Luis, ended up back at Lincoln High because the city was tearing down the old wing for condos. We met in room 204, the one with the warped floorboards and the projector that still smells like burnt plastic. Someone had dragged in a folding table, a six-pack of warm soda, and a box of yearbooks the demolition crew left behind. The air tasted like chalk dust and wet concrete. We flipped pages under the emergency lights, laughing at bowl cuts and braces, until Jenna stopped on the senior class composite from 2011. Our year. The photo was taken in the auditorium, rows of us in navy gowns, the backdrop a cheap painted sky. Jenna's finger hovered over the second row. "Who's that?" she asked. There was an extra face. A girl, pale, dark hair and a blunt cut, standing between Priya and the kid who always carried a skateboard. None of us remembered her. Not her name, not her voice, not even the way she might have smelled, like cafeteria pizza or strawberry lip gloss. The caption listed 32 names. We counted 33 heads. Curiosity tugged first, the way it does when you find an old note in your pocket and can't remember writing it. Marcus zoomed in on his phone. The pixels turned her smile into static. "Glitch," he said, but his voice cracked on the word. We passed the yearbook around like a joint, each of us hoping the next person would suddenly shout, "Oh, that's Becca. She moved junior year." No one did. The rain picked up, drumming harder, and the hallway lights flickered once, long enough for the shadows to stretch like they were waking up. I felt the first prickle of fear then, cool and precise, right between my shoulder blades. Lincoln High was built in 1958. The architect loved narrow corridors and asbestos tiles, a real mid-century maze. Rumor always said the basement flooded every spring, that janitors found desks floating like rafts. Tonight the building felt smaller, as if the walls had inched closer while we weren't looking. Priya traced the mystery girl's outline with a fingernail. "She's looking right at the camera," she whispered, like she knew we'd be here. We decided to dig deeper, because that's what you do at 1 a.m. in a condemned school, right? Marcus remembered the records room in the basement, metal cabinets full of attendance sheets and detention slips. The stairwell down smelled of mildew and old wax. Every step echoed twice, like someone following half a beat behind. I kept thinking some lessons were never meant to be taught, especially not after curfew. At the bottom, the emergency bulb glowed red, the color of darkroom safe lights. The cabinets were unlocked, budget cuts, I guess. We pulled 2011 files, papers soft as cloth, birth certificates, vaccination cards, transcripts. 32 names. No 33rd. But tucked inside Priya's folder was a Polaroid. The five of us at the spring dance, arms around each other, grinning. And there, half cut off at the edge, the same girl. Her hand rested on my shoulder. I felt it then, the phantom weight, like she was still touching me through the photograph. The PA system crackled overhead, though the power had been off for weeks. A single word, faint, almost swallowed by static. Remember. We bolted. Up the stairs, shoes squeaking on wet linoleum, breath fogging in the sudden cold. Back in 204, the yearbook lay open to the same page. The extra face was gone. The caption now read 32 names. But the ink looked wet, and when I touched it, my fingertip came away smudged black. Outside, thunder rolled like a locker slamming shut. Inside, the lights steadied, but the hum felt different, lower, expectant. Jenna closed the book. "We're not done," she said. None of us argued. We didn't leave room 204. We couldn't. The hallway outside had gone too quiet, like the building swallowed every sound after that single crackle from the PA. The rain still hammered the windows, but the drops sounded farther away now, as if the glass had thickened overnight. Marcus set the yearbook on the folding table and opened it again, slower this time. The way you peel a bandage you're scared will start bleeding. Page 112. The senior composite. 32 faces. 32 names. Except the empty space between Priya and the skateboard kid hadn't filled in with anyone else. It was just blank. A pale rectangle where the mystery girl had been, like someone had taken an eraser to the photograph and the paper underneath. The rest of the grid looked untouched. Our goofy grins, the crooked mortarboards, the kid in the back row flipping the bird behind the principal's head. But that one spot was scrubbed clean. Curiosity came back first, sharper now, a paper cut you keep pressing. "Maybe the ink ran," Louise said, but he was already flipping to the index at the back. Names in alphabetical order, tiny headshots beside them. We found ours easy. Jenna Alvarez, Marcus Chun, Priya Desai, Luis Ortega, me, Samuel Park. Then, between Desai and Ortega, a line that shouldn't exist, Mara Ellison. No photo, just the name, printed in the same font as the rest, but the letters looked darker, wetter. Jenna's phone flashlight trembled across the page. "I sat next to Priya in every class photo since kindergarten," she said. There was no Mara. We tried to laugh it off. Typo, prank, some yearbook staffer's inside joke. But the air in the room had changed. It tasted metallic, like the moment before lightning. The fluorescent tubes overhead flickered in a slow pulse. 1-2, 1-2, matching my heartbeat. I remembered Lincoln High's old nickname, the Heartbeat Building, because the HVAC system thumped like a dying organ whenever the boiler kicked on. Tonight, it was silent. Marcus pulled out his laptop, battery at 6%, and opened the school's archived website, the one the district kept for nostalgia. Class of 2011 page. Same composite. 33 faces. Mara Ellison, second row, smiling straight into the lens. Her eyes were gray, almost silver, the kind of color you only notice in black and white. I felt the fear settle in my stomach then, cold and heavy. The way you feel when the roller coaster pauses at the top and you realize the safety bar isn't clicked all the way. Priya started scrolling the comments under the photo, alumni tagging each other, inside jokes about prom. One post, time-stamped 3 years ago. "Anyone remember Mara E?" She was in my chem lab, but vanished after the fire drill. Weird. Another, 6 months later, Mara Ellison? I swear she was in my Spanish class, but the roster only has 32. The replies devolved into memes and conspiracy gifs. No one had answers. The lights dimmed without warning, dropping to a sickly yellow. The projector on the cart whirred to life by itself, fan spinning, bulb glowing. A grainy image stuttered onto the pull-down screen. The auditorium, same backdrop, same day. But the camera angle was wrong. Lower, like it was shot from the floor. And there she was, Mara, walking between the rows, touching shoulders as she passed. Our shoulders. The five of us froze in the frame, mid-laugh, oblivious. Her hand lingered on mine longest. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, especially not by someone who wasn't on the roll sheet. The projector clicked off. The room plunged into darkness for 3 full seconds, long enough for the emergency exit sign to bleed red across our faces. When the fluorescence buzzed back, the yearbook was open to a different page. Candid shots. Spring dance. There we were, arms linked, disco ball scattering light like broken glass. And half in frame, half out Mara, her reflection in the gym mirror behind us, but only in the mirror. In the actual photo, the space beside me was empty. Jenna made a sound, half gasp, half sob. She's inside the pictures now. We checked every yearbook in the box. Same pattern. Mara appeared in group shots, always at the edge, always touching someone, but never in the official portraits, never in the index photo, like she'd been edited out of reality, but forgot to leave the negatives. The PA crackled again. This time, music, faint, tinny, the chorus of the song that played at our junior prom. Remember me when the lights go out. The lyrics warped, slowed, until the singer's voice sounded underwater. The hallway lights outside began to strobe, long shadows sweeping the floor like searchlights. Marcus slammed the laptop shut. We need the master yearbook, the one with the original film strips. They keep it in the library cage. The library was on the second floor, past the trophy cases and the stairwell that always smelled like wet pennies. We moved as a group, shoes whispering over tile. Every locker we passed had its dial spun to 33, the combination for the old vending machines that got removed in 2009. Someone, or something, was counting. Halfway up the stairs, the temperature dropped 10 degrees. My breath fogged. Priya stopped, stared at the wall. Someone had scratched a message into the paint, letters fresh and deep. Mara was here. Below it, in smaller script, so are you. We reached the library doors. The card slot glowed green, even though the power was cut. Luis swiped his old student ID, expired 8 years ago. The lock clicked open. Inside, moonlight striped the carpet through broken blinds. The cage at the back, where they kept rare books and AV equipment, stood ajar. On the center table, the master yearbook, thick as a phone book, cover cracked leather. We opened it to 2011. The composite was pristine. 33 faces. Mara's photo was there, but her eyes were scratched out. 2 raw gouges that went through 3 pages beneath. Underneath, in red pen that still smelled coppery, she never left. The lights in the library went out completely. In the dark, the PA whispered a single sentence, clear as glass. Find me in the basement. The stairwell to the basement smells like wet pennies and old pennies, the same scent that clung to the upper stairs, but thicker now, metallic enough to taste. The emergency bulb at the landing is dead. Only the green glow of the exit sign above us bleeds down the concrete throat. We descend single file, Jenna's phone the only light, a thin white cone that trembles over graffiti and rust stains. Every step echoes 3 times. Hours, then a half-beat delay, then a softer third, like someone barefoot is matching us from below. Lincoln High's basement is a real place, not just rumor. Built over an old creek bed, it floods every March. The city's historical society even has photos of 1974 when the water rose to the ceiling and yearbooks floated like lily pads. Tonight the floor is dry, but the air sits heavy, saturated, as if the creek is still down here breathing. Curiosity keeps us moving. We need the original attendance ledger, the one the office used before everything went digital in 2010. It's kept in the records vault, a walk-in safe the size of a janitor's closet, combination locked since the Clinton administration. Marcus swears he watched the vice principal spin it open senior year, 33-18-11. Our graduation year, backwards. The vault door is cold iron, paint chipped to primer. Jenna's fingers leave foggy prints. Marcus dials. The tumblers click like teeth. The door sighs open on its own, just an inch, enough for the smell of mildew and fresh ink to crawl out. Inside, metal cabinets line the walls, labels faded to ghosts. 1958 to 1970, 1971 to 1985, 1996 to 2005. We find 2010 to 2011 on the bottom shelf, drawer stuck. Luis yanks. It screeches, then gives. Manila folders spill like intestines. We spread them on the concrete under the phone light. Transcripts, report cards, withdrawal forms. 32 names. But wedged between Desai, Priya, and Ellison, Mara, is a single sheet that doesn't belong. A transfer notice, dated September 3rd, 2010. Mara Ellison, incoming from Westfield Academy. The signature line is blank. The photo stapled to the corner is Mara, same blunt hair, same silver eyes, but the staple holes are rusted, as if the paper has been wet for years. Fear arrives quiet, the way basement cold seeps through sneakers. Priya flips the page. On the back, someone wrote in red ballpoint. She arrived the day the PA died. I remember that day. First week of junior year. The intercom screamed feedback for 30 seconds, then cut out forever. They replaced the system senior year, but the old speakers stayed in the ceilings like black spider eyes. We dig deeper. A second folder, unmarked, heavier. Inside, Polaroids, dozens of them, rubber-banded. Each one is a classroom scene. Timestamp 2010 to 2011. Mara is in every shot, but always at the edge of the frame. Half a face, a hand on a shoulder, a reflection in a window. In one, she's standing behind me during a fire drill, her mouth open like she's whispering in my ear. I have no memory of that drill. The phone battery drops to 4%. The light stutters. In the flicker, the cabinets seem to shift, drawers sliding open an inch, then closing. A soft metallic ring. Jenna gasps. Her folder is open on the floor, pages fanned. A new document sits on top. A missing person report, filed May 15th, 2011. Mara Ellison. Last seen in the basement during the spring concert setup. No suspects. Case closed. Lack of evidence. The reporting officer's signature is smudged, but the badge number is clear, 33. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, especially not in rooms that remember every absence. The vault light clicks on by itself, bare bulb swinging. Shadows jitter across the walls. The PA, dead for 8 years, crackles overhead. A girl's voice, calm, almost bored. Roll call. Then names, our names, in the exact order Mrs. Kopecki used homeroom junior year. When it reaches Ellison, Mara, the bulb explodes. Glass dust snows down. Darkness swallows us. We scramble for the door, but the vault has no handle on the inside. Panic is a living thing, clawing at my ribs. Luis bangs on the metal. The echo comes back wrong. Hollow, farther away, like the room just doubled in size. Jenna's phone dies. Absolute black. Then light, green, sickly, from the exit sign in the hallway leaking under the door. Enough to see the cabinets have rearranged themselves into a perfect circle around us. Every drawer is open. Every folder is empty, except one. On the floor, a single sheet glows faintly, as if backlit. A class schedule. My schedule. But every block is blank except fifth period. Basement records. M. Ellison. Footsteps above us. Slow, deliberate. Heels on concrete. Not ours. The steps stop directly overhead. Dust sifts through the ceiling grate. A whisper, not from the PA this time, but close, intimate, right against my ear. You kept me waiting. The vault door swings wide. The hallway beyond is lit normally, fluorescent steady, lockers in neat rows. But the combination dial on the outside now reads 00-00-00. The safe behind us is gone. Just a cinder block wall, freshly painted. No seam, no handle, no trace we were ever inside. We stumble out. The basement smells like rain now, clean and impossible. On the floor, a trail of wet footprints leads toward the old music wing. Small, bare, pointing away from us. They stop at a door marked storage, authorized personnel only. The knob turns before we touch it. Inside, moonlight spills through a high window onto stacks of chairs and a single upright piano, lid closed. On the music rack, a yearbook, open to the composite. 33 faces again. Mara's eyes are no longer scratched out. They're looking straight at us, and her smile has widened just enough to show teeth. The piano plays one note, middle C, soft, like a question. The lid is still closed. We don't run. Not yet. The note lingers in the air, a perfect middle C that refuses to decay, vibrating inside my teeth. The storage room is colder than the basement has any right to be. The moonlight through the high window is too bright, surgical, carving the dust into silver ribbons. The piano lid stays shut, but the key keeps sounding over and over, the same pitch, like a metronome counting down to something we can't name. Jenna is the first to move. She steps forward, saws crunching on broken glass from a shattered trophy case, and lifts the yearbook from the music rack. The page is warm, body temperature warm. Mara's photo stares up at us, but the eyes have changed. They follow. I've seen cheap carnival tricks do that, but this is different. The irises shift with every heartbeat, tracking whoever is closest. Curiosity is a reflex now, a twitch in the fingers. Priya reaches past Jenna and touches the glossy surface. The photo ripples like water. Mara's hand lifts off the page, flat ink becoming three-dimensional, pale fingers curling around Priya's wrist. No one screams. The sound catches in our throats, strangled by the impossible. The mirrors come next. Lincoln High's music wing has a rehearsal room lined with full-length mirrors for posture checks. Old, wavy glass donated by a theater that closed in the 80s. The door to that room is open tonight, a black rectangle leaking colder air. The piano note finally stops, replaced by a low hum, the kind fluorescent ballasts make when they're about to burn out. We drift toward the doorway the way sleepwalkers drift toward cliffs. Inside, the mirrors are fogged, but not evenly. Words appear in the condensation, letter by letter, as if an invisible finger is writing from the other side. Remember the sub. Fear is no longer a prickle. It's a flood, ice water in the veins. We had a substitute junior year, Mr. Halvorson, who took over AP English for 3 weeks when Mrs. Kopecki's mother died. He was tall, smelled like mothballs, and always wrote the date on the board in red dry erase that bled through to the next day. On his last day, he left a note. Some reflections don't belong to the living. We thought it was pretentious. The mirrors clear all at once. Our reflections stand there. 5 of us, pale, eyes ringed with exhaustion. But behind us, a 6th figure. Mara. She's closer in the glass than she could possibly be in the room. Her hand rests on my shoulder in every mirror, but I feel nothing in real space. Marcus spins. Empty air. The room is maybe 20 by 30. There's nowhere to hide. Yet in the mirrors she multiplies, stepping out from behind Luis. Then Priya. Then Jenna. Always touching. Always smiling that whiter-than-before smile. The glass begins to sweat, droplets racing down like tears. Priya backs into a music stand. It clatters, cymbals shivering. The crash echoes wrong. Too loud, too long, bouncing between the mirrors until it sounds like 100 stands falling in 100 rooms. The reflections freeze mid-motion, then jerk forward 1 frame, like a film reel skipping. Mara is suddenly in front of me in every mirror, nose to nose, breath fogging the glass from the inside. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, especially not by reflections that brief. The humming swells. The mirrors bulge outward, glass bowing like soap bubbles. Jenna raises her phone, dead, but muscle memory, and the screen flickers to life on its own. Camera app open, front-facing. The preview shows the room behind us, but the angle is impossible, as if the phone is floating above our heads. Mara is in the frame, standing between us, her face filling half the screen. She lifts a finger to her lips, shill. Then the mirrors crack. Not shatter, crack. Hairline fractures spidering from the center of each pane, meeting at the edges to form perfect circles. Inside every circle, a single silver eye blinks. The humming stops. Silence rushes and so completely my ears pop. We bolt. Out of the rehearsal room. Past the piano, lid now open, keys depressed in a silent chord. Down the hallway that smells of rain and chalk. The emergency lights strobe red, painting everything in pulses of blood and shadow. Behind us, the mirrors keep cracking, a slow-motion avalanche of glass that never quite falls. We reach the main stairwell. The mirrors here are smaller, locker-sized, installed for self-esteem checks in the 90s. Every one shows the same thing, Mara walking toward us. But her reflection is ahead of her real-time position. She's gaining. Halfway up the stairs, Louis stops. The PA, he pants. It's been trying to tell us. As if summoned, the speakers embedded in the ceiling crackle. Not static this time. Actual audio, warped but recognizable. Mr. Halvorson's voice, the substitute, reading roll call from May 15th, 2011. The day Mara vanished. He reaches Ellison, Mara, and the recording skips, repeats, skips again. Each loop, the name distorts. Mara, Mara, Mara. The stairwell lights die. Darkness, total. Then a soft click. Every locker door on the floor below swings open at once. Metal on metal, a deafening chorus. Inside the lockers, mirrors, handheld, cosmetic, shards taped to the doors. Hundreds of Maras, all walking up the stairs toward us, reflected to infinity. We scramble higher. The second floor landing has a trophy case, glass front smashed years ago. Inside, the 2011 state championship plaque is missing. In its place, a single Polaroid. Us at the spring concert, setting up chairs in the basement. Mara is in the center, holding a microphone, smiling. But the microphone cable snakes across the floor and plugs into nothing. The PA whispers, intimate, right against the shell of my ear. Look closer. I do. In the Polaroid, the basement windows show daylight, but the shadows are wrong, long, late afternoon shadows that stretch toward the lens. And in every shadow, a silhouette. Mara, duplicated, watching herself watch us. The lights flicker back. The mirrors are empty now. No reflections at all. Not ours, not hers. Just silver backing and dust. But the Polaroid is warm in my hand, pulsing like a heartbeat. We reach the hallway that leads to the auditorium. The double doors are propped open with a janitor's wedge. Inside, the stage lights are on, a single spotlight aimed at center stage. On the backdrop, the same painted sky from the class photo. A new figure has been added. Mara, life-sized, arms outstretched. The paint is wet. It drips in slow rivulets, pooling on the wooden floor in the shape of footsteps leading off stage. The spotlight dims. In the half-dark, the backdrop ripples. Mara steps out of the painting, barefoot, gown replaced by the uniform she wore in the Polaroids. Navy skirt, white blouse, tie crooked. She is solid, real. The temperature plummets. Frost feathers the edge of the spotlight. She tilts her head. You kept the mirrors clean, she says, voice soft, echoey. That was kind. Then she walks straight into the audience seating, disappearing between the rows. The spotlight follows, empty. The auditorium smells like old velvet and the ghost of popcorn from 1,000 movie nights. The spotlight is still tracking something we can't see, sweeping slow arcs across the rows of seats, catching dust motes that drift like slow-motion snow. Mara is gone, but the air where she stood vibrates, a tuning fork struck by an invisible hand. My ears ring with that same middle C from the piano, only now it's layered, dozens of CS, overlapping, detuning into a chord that makes my fillings ache. We follow the spotlight because there's nowhere else to go. The exit doors are chained from the inside, padlocked, gleaming new. Jenna tugs once. The chain doesn't even rattle. The PA system exhales above us, a long breath that smells of ozone and chalk. Then the announcements begin, not the warped roll call, but the real thing, crystal clear, as if the building saved every word it ever spoke and is playing them back in order. Attention Lincoln High. Today is Monday, September 6th, 2010. First period begins in 5 minutes. The house lights come up halfway, sickly amber. The rows of seats are full. Not with people, with uniforms. Navy blazers draped over seat backs, ties knotted around headrests, skirts folded neatly on cushions. 32 complete outfits, one for every name in the yearbook. Empty. Waiting. Curiosity is almost gone now, replaced by a hollow dread that tastes like copper. Marcus walks the aisle, fingertips brushing the blazers. Each one has a name tag stitched inside the collar in red thread. Ours. When he reaches the orchestra pit, he stops. The conductor's podium is occupied. A blazer, smaller, girl's cut. The tag reads Ellison. The PA continues, voice cheerful, robotic, the same cadence every morning for 4 years. Students are reminded that the basement is off limits during concert setup. Thank you. The spotlight snaps to the stage left wing. A microphone stand, alone. The cable snakes across the floor, plugs into a speaker that isn't there. Feedback screams, pure, piercing, then resolves into a girl's voice, live, breathless. Mara, you left me on mute. The uniforms twitch, sleeves lift, collars straighten, as if invisible bodies are sliding into them. One by one, the blazers fill out, shoulders, arms, the suggestion of heads beneath the hoods where faces should be. They turn toward us in perfect sync. 32 faceless students. The Ellison blazer stays empty, swaying gently, conductor of the silent choir. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, especially not to an audience that never graduated. Priya backs into a seat. The blazer there embraces her, arms crossing her chest like a straitjacket. She gasps. No pain, just surprise, and the fabric tightens, stitching itself to her sweater with red thread that crawls like veins. The same happens to Luis, then Jenna. Marcus tries to run, but the aisle carpets his shoes, thick pile turning to tar. I feel it too, my jacket pocket sewing itself to my jeans, the yearbook inside pulsing hot against my hip. The PA drops to a whisper, intimate, as if the microphone is pressed to my ear. Senior prank, 2011. Lock in. You voted to hide the new girl in the sound booth. Said it would be funny. 1 hour, lights out, scary stories. You forgot the booth locks from the outside. Memory flickers, grainy, unwilling. A circle of flashlight beams. Laughter. Someone me, spinning the latch. Mara's voice muffled through the door. Guys? It's cold. We thought she was joking. We left for pizza. The house lights strobe. The uniforms stand. Row by row, they file onto the stage, forming the exact positions of the class photo. 32 bodies, faceless. The Ellison blazer floats to the second row, center, and waits. The spotlight narrows to a pinprick on the empty space beside it. Mara steps into the light. Not paint, not reflection, flesh, barefoot, uniform pristine. She is translucent at the edges, moonlight visible through her wrists. The temperature is arctic. My breath crystallizes midair. She raises the microphone that isn't there and speaks, voice layered with every PA broadcast since 1958. Roll call. The uniforms answer in chorus, voices flat, recorded. Alvarez, Chun, Desai, Ortega, Park. Each name, a blazer steps forward, then dissolves into red thread that rewinds into Mara's sleeve. The thread glows, spelling letters across her blouse. Present. When only the 5 of us remain, Priya, Luis, Jenna, Marcus, me, the spotlight widens. The backdrop sky has turned to night, painted stars flickering like faulty bulbs. Mara tilts her head. Your turn. The yearbook in my pocket bursts open. Pages flip themselves to the composite. Our 5 faces are crossed out in red X's, ink still wet. Mara's face is untouched, but the name beneath it now reads, Class of Eternity. Marcus finds his voice. We didn't know the lock stuck. We came back. 3 hours later, Mara finishes. I was gone. Basement flooded that night. They found my shoes by the creek bed. Case closed. The PA crackles with rain's sound. The same storm outside the windows right now. Water begins to seep under the auditorium doors, black, shin-deep in seconds. It smells of creek mud and copper. The uniforms sink first, blazers bloating, then vanishing beneath the surface. The water rises to our knees, ice cold, but it doesn't touch Mara. She stands on the stage, dry. Jenna is crying, but the tears freeze on her cheeks. We're sorry. Mara smiles, small, almost kind. I know. That's why you get to choose. The water stops at our waists. The spotlight becomes a moon, full and low. Mara extends her hand. In her palm, 5 red threads, each tied to a tiny silver key. One key opens the sound booth. One graduate leaves. The rest stay for detention. Forever. The PA falls silent. The only sound is water lapping at the seats and our breathing, shallow, synchronized. Luis lunges for a key. The thread snaps. The key turns to water, splashes, gone. Priya tries next, same. Jenna hesitates, then takes one gently. It stays solid. She looks at me, eyes wide, pleading. Marcus whispers, we choose together or not at all. Mara nods. Clock's ticking. Flood rises at sunrise. We huddle. The water is at our chests now. The yearbook floats past, pages blank. I grab Jenna's hand, then Marcus's, forming a chain. Priya and Luis Lincoln. 5 hearts, 1 pulse. I speak for us. We stay, all or none. Mara's smile fades, not angry, just tired. The moonlight softens. The water recedes, inch by inch, soaking into the carpet like it was never there. The uniforms are gone. The chains on the exit doors fall away, clattering. Mara steps off the stage. The spotlight follows, then dies. In the dark, her voice is small, human. Thank you. The PA gives one final crackle, then silence. The emergency exit sign glows steady green. We walk out together, shoes squelching on dry tile. Behind us, the auditorium doors swing shut. No lock clicks. The hallway outside the auditorium is exactly as we left it hours ago, yet everything is wrong in the details. The trophy case is whole again, glass intact, the 2011 championship plaque back in place, gleaming under a bulb that shouldn't have power. The air smells of lemon polish and fresh paint, the way the school did on the first day of senior year. My watch reads 3:17 a.m., but the wall clock above the water fountain is frozen at 11:11, the second hand twitching like it's trying to decide whether to move forward or give up. We walk in a knot, shoulders brushing, afraid to separate by even an inch. The emergency lights are off. The fluorescents burn steady, humming a note that is almost, but not quite, middle C. Every locker dial is back to random numbers, yet when we pass 204, the door stands open. Inside, the folding table is cleared, the yearbook's gone. Only the box remains, lid closed, a single red thread tied around it in a perfect bow. Curiosity is a faint echo now, like a bell rung underwater. Jenna kneels, unties the thread. It dissolves into dust the moment it leaves her fingers. The lid lifts by itself. Inside, one photograph, glossy new. The senior composite. 33 faces. Mara is in the second row, eyes soft, smile small and human. The caption reads 33 names. Ellison, Mara is last, printed in the same font as the rest, no smudges, no wet ink. Beneath the grid, a post-it in Mrs. Kopecki's handwriting, for the permanent record. Welcome home. Fear loosens its grip, but it doesn't leave. It settles into something quieter, a bruise that will throb when it rains. We set the photo on the teacher's desk. The surface is warm, as if someone just stood up from it. The PA gives a soft chime, the two-tone bell that always meant end of period. A girl's voice follows, not Mara's, but familiar in a way that makes my throat close. Mrs. Kopecki, recorded years ago, cheerful and tired. Seniors, don't forget to return your caps and gowns to the auditorium bin. Congratulations, class of 2011. The speakers click off with a gentle pop, like a kiss. We head for the main exit. The glass doors show dawn outside. Impossible, but there it is, pale gold light pooling on the wet pavement. The rain has stopped. The air smells of petrichor and cut grass. The chains that barred the doors earlier are gone, replaced by a single red ribbon tied in the same bow as the box. Marcus pulls it. The ribbon flutters to the floor, already fading. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, but some apologies are heard anyway. We step into the morning. The parking lot is empty except for our cars, dew covered, exactly where we left them. The school behind us looks smaller, almost shy, the brick blushing in the sunrise. A groundskeeper's truck idles by the flagpole. The driver waves, confused but friendly. We wave back. Prius stops at the threshold. Do you feel it? The building exhales. A long, slow release, as if it has been holding its breath since 2011. The front doors swing shut on their own, gentle, final. No slam, just a click. We drive away in convoy, windows down, radio off. At the stoplight on Maple and 12th, Jenna's phone buzzes, battery inexplicably full. A push notification from the school district website. Lincoln High demolition postponed indefinitely. Historic status granted. The attached photo is the auditorium stage, freshly painted sky backdrop, 33 silhouettes chalked in where the seniors stood. No one speaks until we reach the diner on the edge of town, the one with the cracked vinyl booths and burnt coffee. We order pancakes we don't eat. The waitress hums the prom song under her breath, off-key but happy. Outside, the sun climbs higher, burning off the last of the clouds. Louise finally breaks the silence. She just wanted to be remembered. We nod. The bruise throbs, but it's bearable. Years later, grad schools, marriages, kids, the slow drift of adult life. We get together every May 15th. Not a reunion, just coffee, somewhere neutral. We bring the photograph. It never ages. Mara's smile stays small, eyes soft. Sometimes the red thread reappears, tied around the frame, but it always dissolves when we touch it. The school still stands. They turned the basement into a museum of local history. The flood photos are on display, along with a plaque, in memory of Mara Ellison, class of 2011. She never left the music in these halls. Visitors say the PA sometimes plays a single note at closing time. Middle C. We don't go back. We don't need to. The hallway lights no longer flicker when we drive past. The building is quiet, content, graduated at last. The corridors fall silent now, the way they do when the last bell rings and every footstep has somewhere else to be. The fluorescents dim to a candle glow,